She refused $1,000 every day. An old billionaire offered this young woman $1,000 every single day. She refused it. After helping Marcus Clinton home, Lucia began visiting him every evening. She cooked his meals, cleaned his mansion, washed his clothes, organized his medicine. She became the family he no longer had. One evening, Marcus handed her a thick envelope. "Please, take it." Inside was $1,000. 3 months after his wife passed away, Marcus Clinton, an 84-year-old billionaire, lived alone inside his magnificent mansion on Silver Oak Drive, Napa Valley, California. The mansion was worth millions, but every room echoed with silence. He glanced at the family photo hanging on the wall. 4 smiling children, 2 sons, 2 daughters. He smiled faintly. "They'll come. They always said they would." He picked up his phone. David. The call rang. No answer. He called again, straight to voicemail. Marcus forced a smile. "He's probably busy." He dialed Michael. "Dad, I'm in a meeting." Michael answered impatiently. "Can I call you later?" Before Marcus could reply, the line went dead. He swallowed hard. "It's all right. I'll wait." Next, he called Sarah. No answer. Emily sent a text instead. "Sorry, Dad. Really busy this week. Love you." Marcus stared at the message for several seconds, then quietly placed the phone on the table. The house became silent again. That evening, determined not to sleep hungry, Marcus grabbed his walking cane and drove himself to a grocery store on Main Street, St. Helena, California. The young cashier smiled warmly. "Need help carrying these to your car, sir?" Marcus smiled proudly. "No, son. I can still manage." Outside, dark clouds gathered overhead. As Marcus lifted the grocery bags from his trunk, one bag suddenly ripped apart. Apples, oranges, cans, bread, everything scattered across the parking lot. He sighed heavily and slowly bent down to pick them up. A sharp pain shot through his back. He froze. Cars drove past him. People looked, but kept walking. Marcus struggled to reach a rolling orange before it disappeared beneath another parked car. His breathing grew heavier, his vision blurred. I can't!" Just as he reached for another grocery bag, a cheerful female voice called out behind him. "Sir, please don't move." Marcus slowly turned around. A beautiful young woman in a bakery uniform dropped the shopping basket she was carrying and ran toward him without a second thought. She knelt beside him, gently placing a hand on his shoulder. "Are you hurt?" Marcus looked into her kind eyes. For the first time in months, someone had asked him if he was okay. He couldn't answer. His lips trembled. His eyes filled with tears. The young woman quickly gathered the scattered groceries before another car could run over them. "Please, sir, don't bend down again," she pleaded gently. Marcus stood frozen, leaning heavily on his walking cane. I'm sorry you had to see this." She smiled warmly. "You have nothing to be sorry about." After picking up the last bag, she looked at him carefully. "My name is Lucia Carter." "And yours?" Marcus hesitated for a moment. Marcus Clinton." "It's nice to meet you, Mr. Clinton." She noticed sweat running down his face. "Are you feeling dizzy?" Marcus tried to hide the pain. "I'll be fine." But before he could take another step, his knees buckled. Lucia reacted instantly, catching him before he hit the ground. "Oh my goodness! Easy, easy." Several shoppers stopped to stare. One man offered to call an ambulance. Marcus quickly shook his head. "No hospitals. I'm all right." Lucia looked at him with concern. Then let me take you home. I couldn't possibly trouble you. You won't. She gently took his car keys from his trembling hand. Today, I'm your driver. For the first time in months, Marcus couldn't help but smile. 20 minutes later, they arrived at the magnificent Clinton estate on Silver Oak Drive, Napa Valley. Lucia stared through the windshield. Her eyes widened. You live here? Marcus gave a small nod. It's just a house. She helped him out of the car and supported him all the way to the front door. The moment she stepped inside, she stopped. The mansion was breathtaking, but covered in dust. The dining table was cluttered. Laundry lay unfolded on the couch. Dirty dishes filled the kitchen sink. The trash bin overflowed. Lucia looked back at Marcus. You've been doing all this by yourself? Marcus lowered his eyes. I've been trying. Without another word, Lucia rolled up the sleeves of her bakery uniform. She filled the sink with warm water. Within minutes, plates clinked. The faucet ran. The vacuum cleaner hummed. Windows were opened. Fresh air flooded the house. Marcus watched quietly from his armchair. He couldn't remember the last time his home had felt alive. An hour later, the smell of homemade chicken soup drifted through the mansion. Lucia carefully placed a steaming bowl in front of him. Now, she smiled. Eat while it's still hot. Marcus stared at the bowl. His hands trembled. When was the last time someone cooked for me? Lucia pretended not to hear the question. Instead, she handed him a spoon. First bite. Marcus slowly tasted the soup. His eyes closed. A tear rolled down his cheek. It's delicious. Lucia smiled. I'm glad. After dinner, Marcus slowly reached into his wallet and pulled out 10 crisp $100 bills. He held them toward her. Please, take this. Lucia looked at the money, then gently pushed his hand back. I didn't help you for money. Marcus frowned. It's $1,000. I know, and I still don't want it. But why? She smiled softly. Because kindness loses its value the moment it comes with a price tag. Marcus was speechless. He had spent a lifetime surrounded by people who wanted something from him. Yet this young woman had refused $1,000 without hesitation. As Lucia picked up her bag and walked toward the door, she turned back with a gentle smile. I'll stop by tomorrow after work. Marcus blinked in surprise. You mean you're coming back? She nodded. If you'll have me. Before he could answer, she was already walking down the front steps. Marcus stood at the doorway, watching her disappear into the evening sunset. For the first time in 3 long months, the mansion no longer felt quite so empty. The next evening, just as the grandfather clock struck 6, ding dong, Marcus slowly opened the front door. Lucia stood there with a warm smile, holding 2 grocery bags. I brought fresh vegetables. And your favorite chicken soup. Marcus chuckled. You already know my favorite? Lucia grinned. I paid attention yesterday. Marcus stepped aside. Come in. Days turned into weeks. Weeks slowly became months. Every evening after finishing work at the bakery on Main Street, St. Helena, Lucia drove straight to the Clinton estate. Some days she arrived carrying groceries. Other days she came with fresh flowers for the living room. She swept the floors, prepared hot meals, washed Marcus's clothes, organized his medications, cleaned every room, even trimmed the overgrown roses in the garden. The mansion slowly came back to life. So did Marcus. One afternoon, Marcus struggled to button his shirt before a doctor's appointment. His fingers refused to cooperate. Lucia walked over quietly. May I? Marcus smiled. I guess these old hands are retiring. She buttoned his shirt carefully and straightened his collar. There. Now you look like a gentleman again. Marcus laughed. I thought I'd stopped looking like one years ago. At Queen of the Valley Medical Center, Napa Valley, the doctor reviewed Marcus's reports. Your blood pressure has improved. You've gained 4 pounds. He looked over his glasses. What changed? Marcus smiled proudly. I finally found someone who won't let me skip dinner. Lucia laughed softly. The doctor smiled. Whatever she's doing, keep her around. Meanwhile, Marcus's children continued calling. Never to visit, always with excuses. One evening, David called. Dad, I was planning to come this weekend, but an investor flew in from New York. Maybe next month. Marcus forced a smile. I understand. The call ended. Lucia had overheard everything. You knew he wasn't coming, didn't you? Marcus looked out the window. I keep hoping. One day, they'll surprise me. Another week passed. Sarah called from Seattle. Dad, I miss you. Marcus's face brightened. When are you coming? A long silence followed. I'll try during Christmas. Christmas came. Sarah never arrived. She sent flowers instead. Marcus thanked the delivery man, then quietly placed the bouquet beside the front door without opening it. Months later, Michael and Emily finally visited the mansion, not to spend time with their father, but to hold a family discussion. Everyone gathered in the living room. Lucia excused herself and quietly went into the kitchen to prepare coffee. David folded his arms. Dad, we've been talking. Marcus looked from one child to another. And? Michael leaned forward. This house is too big for you. Emily nodded. We worry about you. Sarah added gently. What if you fall again and nobody finds you? David slid a glossy brochure across the coffee table. Marcus picked it up. Across the front were the words, Golden Years Senior Living, where every day feels like home. Marcus's smile disappeared. You want me to move into a nursing home? Dad, don't take it the wrong way, David replied quickly. They have nurses, chefs, caregivers. You'll be safer there. Marcus slowly closed the brochure. What about my own home? No one answered. What about all the promises you made to visit me here? Silence filled the room. Marcus's voice became emotional. I don't need strangers to become my family. I need my children. Emily looked down. Michael checked his watch. David stood. We're only trying to help. Marcus shook his head. No, you're trying to replace yourselves. The room fell silent. One by one, his children quietly walked toward the door. David paused before leaving. Think about it, Dad. We'll call you. Marcus nodded weakly. I'll be waiting. The front door closed. Their cars disappeared down the long driveway. Marcus stood by the window for several seconds, watching, hoping one of them would turn back. None of them did. Lucia quietly walked out of the kitchen, without saying a word. She gently placed a comforting hand on his shoulder. Marcus finally spoke. They always promise they'll come back, but somehow, life is always more important than their father. Lucia's eyes filled with tears. Softly, she said, Then until they do, you won't be alone. Marcus looked at her, his eyes glistening with gratitude. In that moment, he realized something that would change both of their lives forever. The seasons changed. Spring became summer. Summer gave way to autumn. Before anyone realized it, 3 years had passed. Every evening after work, Lucia still stopped at the Clinton estate. Rain or sunshine, holiday or weekday, she never missed a day. One evening, Marcus noticed the sole of Lucia's shoe had come loose. "You need new shoes." Lucia quickly tucked one foot behind the other and smiled. "They're still good?" Marcus wasn't convinced. The following day, he quietly asked one of her co-workers at the bakery about her. The young woman sighed. "Mr. Clinton, Lucia isn't just working to survive. Her mother has kidney disease. Most of her salary goes toward medications. Sometimes she skips lunch just so her mom can eat." Marcus lowered his head. He had offered Lucia $1,000 every single day for 3 years. Every single day. She refused. That evening, he asked her again. "Lucia, why won't you take the money?" She smiled gently. "My mother raised me to believe that kindness isn't something you sell. If I accepted money every time I helped you, it would stop being kindness." Marcus's eyes filled with tears. "You've been struggling all this time, and you never told me." Lucia shrugged with a smile. "Everyone has a burden to carry." Marcus couldn't speak. From that day, he made a decision, one that no one knew about. A week later, his longtime attorney, Robert Harrison, arrived quietly at the mansion. The two men spent nearly 2 hours inside Marcus's study. When Robert finally stood to leave, he asked one last question. "Marcus, are you absolutely certain?" Marcus smiled peacefully. "My children inherited my wealth years ago. The only person left to reward is the one who gave me back my life." Robert nodded. "I'll prepare everything." Months later, Marcus's health declined rapidly. One morning, he called all 4 of his children. "This Saturday, I want everyone home. It's important." For the first time in years, everyone came. David and Michael arrived from San Francisco. Sarah flew in from Seattle. Emily came with her husband from Denver. The grand living room filled with expensive suits, forced smiles, and whispered conversations. Robert Harrison sat quietly, with a thick envelope in his hands. David looked around. "Where's Dad?" The elevator doors opened. Marcus slowly stepped out with his walking stick. Lucia walked beside him. She helped him into his favorite chair. David frowned. "Dad, why is she here?" Marcus smiled. "Because she's family." An uncomfortable silence filled the room. Robert stood. "Mr. Marcus Clinton asked me to read his final will." The room became still. The lawyer read through the family inheritance. Cash, investments, company shares, luxury cars, vacation homes. Everything was divided fairly among the 4 children. David suddenly interrupted. "Wait, what about the Malibu estate?" Michael looked up immediately. "The beachfront property?" Sarah frowned. "It isn't listed." Robert smiled slightly. "There is one final amendment." He turned toward Lucia. "Miss Lucia Carter, would you please come forward?" Confused, Lucia slowly stood. Marcus struggled to rise from his chair. His legs trembled. Lucia rushed to support him. He gently held both of her hands, then placed a brown envelope into them. "I can't accept this," Lucia whispered. Marcus smiled. "You already accepted it, the day you chose to stay." Robert opened the envelope. His voice echoed through the silent room. "I, Marcus Clinton, being of sound mind, leave my California beachfront estate in Malibu, together with all assets attached to it, to Lucia Carter." Gasps filled the room. David shot to his feet. "What?" Emily covered her mouth. Michael stood speechless. Sarah's eyes filled with tears. Robert continued reading. "Because she gave me something my wealth could never buy. Love, dignity, and the feeling that I still mattered." Lucia burst into tears. She dropped to her knees. "No, I never helped you for this." Marcus gently lifted her to her feet. "I know. That's exactly why you deserve it." He slowly turned toward his children. His voice had become weak. "My dear children, I never wanted your money. I only wanted your time. When I called, I wasn't asking you to solve my problems. I only wanted to hear your voices. You kept promising. Next week. Next month. Soon. But old age doesn't wait." His children lowered their heads in shame. Marcus looked at Lucia. "This young woman owed me nothing, yet she gave me everything." He smiled sadly. "Never forget, the family that stays is sometimes the family you never expected." The room was silent except for quiet sobbing. Marcus slowly returned to his chair. He looked around the room one final time. A peaceful smile crossed his face. "Thank you." He closed his eyes. His chest rose gently, then became still. Robert checked for a pulse. After a long silence, he softly said, "He's gone." No one moved. Even David broke down in tears. For the first time in years, the 4 children cried together, not because of the inheritance, but because they finally understood what they had lost. 6 months later, Lucia used part of the estate to ensure her mother received the best medical care. She restored the rest of Marcus's Malibu property and transformed it into a charitable home for lonely seniors who had been forgotten by their families. Above the entrance hung a simple bronze plaque, "The Marcus Clinton House." Beneath it were the words Marcus once lived by: "Kindness expects nothing, yet sometimes receives everything."
Thank you for watching. Please subscribe, like, and put down your thoughts in the comments.